Welcome to Cardinals Cover 2 with Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki. Cardinals Cover 2 is brought to you by Arizona Cardinals Podcasts. Visit azcardinals.com/podcasts. From Cardinals headquarters, here's Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki.
Well, full disclosure, and I don't want to speak for you, MJ, but I was beginning to think it was me. Or you. 5 weeks we've had to wait for this, but it is a Victory Monday.
It is a Victory Monday, and it's nice to see any team, in this case the Arizona Cardinals, when you get a lead and you get in that victory formation, game over, and it's something to build on. We did the post-game show last night. We got a lot of good calls, and I think this team has gotten better over the last 3 weeks. I know they're giving up a lot of yards defensively, but anytime you can force 5 turnovers and get 21 points out of that. But again, they're going to have to grind through offensively. But for the most part, I thought what Steve Wilks said last night to the players, and you're going to see some of that audio and hear it, is that over the 4-week span, nobody was pointing fingers. Nobody was blaming the other side of the ball. And you could see the brotherhood in that locker room. And, yeah, they're happy, but 24-hour rule, they get back to work. They got another tough game coming up this week against the Minnesota Vikings, and we'll see where they go from there. But obviously it's a lot of good you can take from that game. And I think when you win, Craig, it's easier to make corrections.
Absolutely.
Because maybe you're not being hard on the player enough. But they got to correct some things, obviously, if they want to start stacking wins in the National Football League.
It was far from perfect, but certainly that first win, always good to get it out of the way. And now, as you mentioned, MJ, you can start building on that, and we'll see what happens this coming Sunday in Minnesota. All right, let's take off on this Victory Monday here on Cards Cover 2. Here's what's ahead on the show today. We'll take you inside the locker room. You'll hear exclusively from head coach Steve Wilks on what he told the team immediately after the win. Just how impressive was the defense? Well, the numbers tell that story. And, of course, your questions via social media using the hashtag CardsCover2, and that's using the number 2 to get involved in the show. We do it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here towards the end of the show, so still time to get those questions in here. Hashtag CardsCover2. But first things first, the news of the day, and how about this, a roster move. About an hour ago, the team announced the signing of wide receiver Kendall Wright. It's a 1-year contract. The corresponding move is releasing cornerback Dietrich Nichols, but here is Wright, 5'10", 185 pounds, a 6-year veteran. Spent last season, MJ, with the Bears after 5 seasons in Tennessee. So another one. How about just a veteran to go along with Larry Fitzgerald, and someone who, when he does catch the ball, almost 12 yards a pop.
Yeah, and this is a scenario where they had that ready list, and they work out guys, whether it's during the week, and in this case it was a couple weeks ago, and they worked him out, and they feel like it was time to make a move. They do have 6 wide receivers on the roster. He was a former first-round pick. As you mentioned, he spent 5 seasons there. Then he went to Chicago. Now, he was in the Vikings training camp, did not make it out of camp. And so it's curious to see how he's going to learn all 3 wide receivers positions, but he does come with experience, and hopefully he's not a guy that's going to have the drops. Obviously, you got to get on the same page as the quarterback, in this case, Josh Rosen.
Yeah, he'll be on the field with the team on Wednesday, be wearing number 12 for those who are curious about uniforms here with the Arizona Cardinals. All right, on the injury front, nothing serious to report, but Larry Fitzgerald, Marcus Golden, Robert Nkemdiche, and Andre Smith all day today, according to head coach Steve Wilks. Of course, Golden and Nkemdiche missed Sunday's game because of Golden dealing with the knee and Nkemdiche a foot. Smith got hurt in the 4th quarter, was replaced by John Wetzel, who finished the ball game. Mike Jurecki also left in the second half, but was able to return. He was dealing with a shoulder issue, and of course with Fitzgerald, it's just you got to be cautious with him. He probably won't practice on Wednesday, be limited Thursday and Friday, but there is no way number 11 won't be on the field, especially this week going back to Minnesota.
Yeah, he's got more than one injury now. In the injury report last week, it was a back and a hamstring. He's also dealing with an ankle injury, and he's got a little bit of a thigh bruise, but he's a gamer, and just having him on the field, and if teams want to stack the line to obviously contain or shut the running game down, I think the underneath routes will work. Obviously, Rosen's very accurate in the intermediate stuff. Maybe is not as accurate as he wanted to be compared to last week. But just having Larry on the field, great leader in the locker room, true professional. We know he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I just wish he was healthier because he'd be putting up bigger numbers. But again, he's a guy you can count on game day.
We know Coach Wilks got a game ball for his first victory as an NFL head coach. He also announced game balls to several players, Chandler Jones and Josh Bynes on defense, David Johnson, Christian Kirk on offense, and Andy Lee on special teams, who continues to punt the football very, very well, and that goes back even to the preseason. Coach Wilks also heard from a number of people following yesterday's game, including Panthers head coach Ron Rivera. Of course, Panthers very happy after the victory that they had on Sunday, but Wilks worked with Coach Rivera for a number of years in Carolina before arriving to Arizona, so you could just see on not so much the smile, but just the tone in his voice on how much it meant to Coach Wilks that all those people reached out to him, because it has been a long time coming.
Yeah, he said Ron Rivera actually phoned him while he was on the plane, so he got a hold of him, and I'm sure he said he slept well last night. He was on with Bickley Murata this afternoon, and he didn't have to take anything to go to sleep because I'm sure he's had some sleep. But it's nice, and I'm sure it was just a nice evening with his family and his kids. And one of the other things I thought I liked what he said, you could see all the hugs on the sidelines and everyone going up to him. He was thrilled for his coaching staff because they've been criticized, and some of it was obviously people were wondering what's going on with the offense and defense, compared to what's happened in the last couple of years. And he was happy for the players, and he was happy for people in this organization that maybe are behind the scenes that don't get enough credit. So he was thankful and very gracious with the win here, to a standpoint of he knows that it really helped the momentum in this building when we came in this morning.
Before we get into a recap on Sunday's outcome in San Francisco, let's hear from the head coach. That confidence, does it happen after a win? Well, for him, the team was already confident.
I think we have a lot of confidence. I think the confidence was there even before the win, and that's very encouraging when you're 0-4 and guys still coming to work, still trying to detail the work and putting the time and effort in. I think this is going to help, being able to see the rewards from all your hard work, like getting this win. So we're going to try to take this and build a little bit of momentum, have a great game plan, getting forward, moving forward, getting ready for the Vikings. And as I said before, try to get on that plane and get back home and win. That's what it's all about.
Sometimes you want to see that tangible proof, as he mentioned, that hard work, that there is a reason for it, and the results are, at the end of the day, you do get that win. What we're telling you Monday through Saturday, you do it, and it's going to end up in a positive outcome for you on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll get into the matchup as we get, later in the week. Obviously, we'll start looking ahead on Wednesday. But just off the cuff, they traveled to Philadelphia, the Vikings, and they were able to win that game. And I was looking up some of the numbers on Kirk Cousins. He's averaging 45 passing attempts per game. I mean, besides Andrew Luck, who played like 2 games in 5 days, he's been throwing the ball a ton. One thing I noticed about their offense, maybe under John DeFilippo, is they are throwing the ball down the field more. They got 2 number 1 wide receivers. Anyways, we'll get into that later in the week. But I think Cousins is an upgrade over Case Keenum. Keenum, I was told, that really didn't want to throw the ball down the field, where Cousins is throwing the ball down the field. And then he obviously was able to work the intermediate routes with Kyle Rudolph.
28-18, the final at Levi's Stadium. The Cardinals have won 7 straight over the 49ers, including 4 in a row at Levi's Stadium. Let's run through and tell you how it happened on Sunday afternoon as the Cardinals get their first win of 2018. It did not start off very well for the Cardinals. First drive of the ball game, C.J. Beathard, a little 5-yard flip pass to Matt Breida for the touchdown, and just like that, the Cardinals are trailing. By the way, the snap on the PAT was botched, so it was just 6-0 with 5 minutes gone by on the ball game.
Yeah, I mean, we knew going in they were going to try to run the ball, and obviously they did a little shuffle pass there. Give them credit. They drove down the field and they scored.
Cardinals' first possession, first play, Josh Rosen, 75 yards to Christian Kirk. The first career NFL touchdown for the former Scottsdale Saguaro SaberCat. 7-6, the Cardinals take the lead. They do connect on the PAT. 10 seconds they trailed in this ball game.
Yeah, great protection. It was a play-action pass. We've seen more play actions in the last couple of weeks than we did in the first couple weeks here. I like the fact that he was able to make the throw and catch the ball.
Defense then foreshadowed things to come. Trey Boston with a nice diving interception off a deflection. That, MJ, is takeaway number 1, and yes, you'll need to keep track.
Yeah, exactly. Here you look at the Cardinals' defense, and the ball's tipped, and next thing you know, they're able to get the interception. And that's one thing we were able to see in the preseason. This team forcing the envelope, forcing turnovers.
Now, Matt Breida got hurt late in the first quarter, so the 49ers forced to go down their depth chart, and in comes Raheem Mostert. His first carry, well, he fumbled the football. Rodney Gunter forced it out. Patrick Peterson picked it up, went 49 yards the other way. That is takeaway number 2.
Rodney Gunter got the start because Robert Kimdichie was down. I thought it was his best game in the last couple of years, and once again, when a guy gets more reps and snaps, he's going to be more productive, and we got a chance to see that.
And why is Peterson getting tracked down by the quarterback? You got to take that to the house.
Or I don't know where the scoreboard or jumbotron was, but yes, he normally high step in the end zone.
The turnover led to a touchdown. The first for David Johnson, a 2-yard run, his 6th in his last 4 games against the 49ers, and the Cardinals take a 14-6 lead.
Yeah, you look at this right here. David Johnson found a little bit of crease. That's all you have to do is get the ball across the plane. His elbow and knee are not down yet. Touchdown, Cardinals.
8-point lead just 4 minutes into the second quarter. Second effort, third effort by David Johnson as he was able to run over a couple of different 49er defenders. Let's move ahead to the third quarter. Once again, the defense coming up with a big-time play. Great effort by Chandler Jones with the strip sack and recovers the fumble. That, by the way, his 4th sack of the season, and that is takeaway number 3.
Another guy that I thought he had his best game since the season has started. I mean, he dominated on this play. He was able to get to the edge. Joe Staley obviously has made Pro Bowls in the past. Get the strip sack fumble, and there's 2 guys there between Staley and Beathard, and one guy ends up with it, and that's Chandler Jones.
Unfortunately, the Cardinals offensively not able to do anything, so the 49ers step up. Fourth quarter, Beathard, a 1-yard touchdown throw to Trent Taylor on 4th and goal, and just like that, the Cardinals lead cut to 2, 14-12 with 6:51 to go in the ball game.
Yeah, good rollout for him. Obviously, Taylor was aware of where he needed to be when he's going to catch that ball in the end zone. He obviously had both feet in, caught the ball right next to the pylon.
Well, with the offense going nowhere, the defense decided to step up its game. Hassan Reddick knocking the ball out of Beathard's hands. Josh Bynes right there, scoop and score for the first career touchdown on any level for Bynes, and the Cardinals take a 21-12 lead at 4:33 of the fourth quarter. Takeaway number 4.
Yeah, give Hassan Reddick credit here. It wasn't about the scheme. It's about a guy making a play and obviously forcing the turnover there. And good for Josh Bynes. I think he's been the most consistent defensive player on this roster since week 1. And nice to see him get a touchdown. Defensively, they were able to put some points on the board.
And we heard Coach Wilks on Monday say they preach the defenders attacking the ball as opposed to the quarterback making sure that ball comes loose. Ensuing 49ers possession, another takeaway. Number 5 on the game, Benet Benwickery with the interception. And yes, 5 takeaways in the game, 9 now on the season.
This guy seems like Johnny on the spot. I mean, you watch the way he plays defense. I think the coaching staff did make the right decision by putting him in the starting lineup. We know how familiar he is with Wilks' defense.
The turnover led to this. Johnson's second touchdown. This from 6 yards out, just right up the middle to extend the Cardinals' lead 28-12 with 3:21 to play in the ball game.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were wondering why they running up the middle, because you don't want to run to the edge on a running play, especially on the goal line. You had the fullback right there, get the lead block down. Johnson has the vision to find a little bit of a crease. He's able to squeeze through there, and he gets his second touchdown of the day.
49ers, though, would not go away. Beathard keeps it himself, a 1-yard touchdown run to pull to within 10 with 1:29 to go. The onside kick, though, recovered by the Cardinals, and that seals it as the players, one by one, go over to Coach Wilks to offer their congratulations. Cardinals are going to get their first win of the season.
Yeah, special teams has been a huge upgrade over the last couple of years. Benwickery, again, Johnny on the spot. They had their hands team out there, guys like Larry Fitzgerald and guys that obviously can catch the ball.
Trey Boston offering his congratulations, sets up a couple of kneel downs for Josh Rosen, who, by the way, not only do we talk about Coach Wilks getting his first win as a head coach, but how about Josh Rosen, his first win as a quarterback in the NFL, and that leads to Wilks and Kyle Shanahan meeting at midfield. Once again, the final 28-12 28-18, the final.
How about the 4 rookie quarterbacks winning
Absolutely.
on the road? Now, obviously, Mayfield's had a couple of starts, and then you look at Josh Allen, he's had a couple more starts, and then you look at Sam Darnold, he's had a couple more starts. But all 4 rookies that were drafted in the top 10 all won a road game. That's pretty impressive.
And according to Elias, the first time that's ever happened, 4 rookie quarterbacks winning on the same day on a Sunday. Let's take you inside the winning locker room here from head coach Steve Wilks, exclusively on azcardinals.com.
Tell you something, guys. I couldn't be more proud of a group of men than I am with you guys right here. Oh, and 4. We didn't point fingers. We didn't blame the other side of the ball. And we found a way to get one today. We owned it. We know what it feels like. We got to keep it going. Offense, great job. Talking about starting fast. First play, over the top. Good protection, good throw, great catch. That's what we're about. Defense, taking the ball away. Taking the ball away. 5 of them. And we scored on defense. Great job with special teams. That's what it's all about. Enjoy this. Coming in tomorrow to work. You guys do that?
Real quick, guys. It's my great honor to give the game ball to Coach Wilks today. Let's build on it. All right, great job.
Win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win.
Let's go.
Team president Michael Bidwell presenting the ball to Coach Wilks after the ball game inside the locker room exclusively on azcardinals.com. As you heard mention the takeaways, 21 points the Cardinals scored off the 5 takeaways that the defense was able to give.
Yeah, I thought they were swarming more to the ball, and we know that they in practice they work about punching the ball out. Obviously, Peanut Tillman excelled at that. And then they've been talking about the 6 inches and the reach. And when you get there, try to get the ball. Just don't allow the receiver to catch the ball and tackle him. Try to go in there and stick your arm in there. Sometimes you're going to get a penalty for that. They want to avoid that kind of stuff. But you can see he got a little emotional in there. And
there was that dramatic pause a little bit.
Yes, it was. And then he was able to finish talking. But you could see how much it means to him. Okay, he's waited a long time to be in this role, and it took him a few weeks, in this case 5 weeks, to get his first win. And many more coming for Steve Wilks over the course of the next couple of seasons.
For more on the 28-18 win, let's hear from the 2 men who had the call in this week's 2-minute drill.
Welcome to another edition of the Arizona Cardinals 2-minute drill with Ron Wolfley. I'm Dave Pasch. Wolf, the Cardinals have their first win of the Steve Wilks era. First win for Josh Rosen as the Cardinals starting quarterback. What was the difference in your mind today?
Oh, man, it was all about takeaways, right? Takeaways and giveaways, the way that it is in the National Football League. First of all, Josh Rosen, no giveaways, right? They protected the football all game long, and the Arizona Cardinals defense came out here and took the ball away from the 49ers. 5 takeaways, plus 5 in that category. You and I were talking, David, actually before the game about how the onus was on the defense for the Arizona Cardinals to come out here against a depleted 49ers team, a team that was playing a backup quarterback. Their offensive line was all banged up, right, to come out and win a game. And that's exactly what they did.
Chandler Jones was great. He played like a Pro Bowler, played like we saw him so often last year when he led the NFL in sacks. On the offensive side, you mentioned no turnovers. Josh Rosen didn't have a great game, but he didn't turn it over. And how about the first play, the 75-yard touchdown to Christian Kirk?
Just unbelievable right there that he actually did that, right? What a great call from Mike McCoy. That was a scripted shot. Let's go ahead, go with a 7-man play action. Christian Kirk running a post over the top. Let's take one shot down the field on the very first play of the game, and Josh Rosen executed that throw perfectly. It's a growth point for Josh Rosen right there. And honestly, even though he didn't play great all game long, This is going to be a game he's going to be able to look back, and he's going to remember this one.
And I don't know how they'll grade Hassan Reddick on the defensive side, but he played a lot, and we saw, as you mentioned during the game, him get better as the game went along, and he made a big play, knocking the ball free. It was recovered by Josh Bynes for a touchdown, and the Cardinals get their first win of 2018. This is the Cardinals 2-minute drill.
Craig, we've showed it a few times today. What is his touchdown celebration when it comes to Christian Kirk?
Yeah, it was interesting. It's apparently secure the bag, meaning the bag of money, as he explained this morning on Doug and Wolf on 98.7 FM Arizona Sports Station. But, yeah, that was his touchdown celebration. Initially, I thought he was digging. But, no, he's opening up the bag, putting the money in the bag, closing the bag, putting the bag over his shoulder and walking off the field.
Well, maybe you got to hire a security guard.
Yeah.
But you can't have the security guard in the game. Hey, listen, it's something different. Hey, anytime he gets in the end zone, I don't care what he does.
As long as he's getting in the end zone.
As long as he gets in the end zone, it counts for 6 points.
Absolutely. Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki here on Cards Cover 2. Still to come, your questions via social media using the hashtag Cards Cover 2, using the number 2 to get involved in the show here. And, of course, we are available live on azcardinals.com/live video. Also on YouTube, search Cards Cover 2. And if you ever miss the show, just download it as a podcast via Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, or TuneIn. We'll get to the offense in a moment, but defensively, a lot of players stepped up their game. But before we get into the individuals, how about the defense being on the field for 92 snaps? It's the most plays. I read this morning. Most plays run by an NFL team in 5 years. The most plays run by a 49ers team since the merger in 1970.
Yeah, you would have thought they were playing Chip Kelly in the San Francisco 49ers when he was in Philadelphia, because they were on the ball. Yeah, I mean, the problem is they're not getting positive yards on first and second down. They're facing third and long, and they're not converting on third down. They only had 2 yesterday on third down for 17%. And the problem is that they're giving up yardage from the 20 to the 20, and they're doing a better job when it comes to points allowed. They're ranked 11th in the NFL right now, 22.4, where yardage-wise they're ranked at the bottom. So, you know, I don't know if it's a bend but don't break defense, but I think Ron and Dave really brought up what we thought going into the season, that the defense had to carry this football team until they found out their identity. That's something we were able to see in the preseason. Usually turnovers, they come in bunches. You're going against a team this week in the Vikings where Kirk Cousins has 11 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions, so maybe you may not get that, but Cardinals got to do a better job stopping the run. And, again, you know how I feel about sacks. They were able to pressure the quarterback. I thought Budda Baker had a really good game. Hassan Reddick, Rodney Gunter, but, of course, Chandler Jones stole the show.
Absolutely. The Cardinals defense on the field for just over 40 minutes. And, of course, those 92 snaps. Asked about it on Monday, the physical and mental toll. Here is head coach Steve Wilks.
From a mental standpoint, I hope it's not getting to him. From a physical standpoint, as I mentioned before, we got to find a way to get off the field. And I think it's more self-inflicted when you look at some of the things that I see on film. Guys not using their hands, guys not getting off blocks, guys jumping out of their gaps, missed tackle here, not trying to leverage the football. So things that we got to correct to give ourselves a chance to be able to get off the field.
You know, we had a caller on the postgame show, and he brought up a good point to us, in that C.J. Beathard threw the ball more than the Cardinals had offensive plays.
54-49.
You can't predict that kind of stuff.
No, and it's something that, as you heard Coach Wilks say, the defense has to get off the field. The offense needs to extend drives and convert on third down. But you look at the snap counts for a handful of players. Josh Bynes over 100 snaps. Hassan Reddick over 100 snaps. In fact, he played 107. Budda Baker with 103. But when you talk about the individual efforts of a Josh Bynes, a Chandler Jones, a Hassan Reddick, very easily you can make the case for all 3 of those that Sunday was their best games individually on what they were able to produce as far as the stats.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And Ben Wickery, he's been a guy that's attacking the ball and forcing turnovers. He was on the hands team on the onside kick. And Gunter, he got the great opportunity. I like the rotation there with him and Olsen Pierre, if Kemdici and Corey Peters are starting. So, you're starting to see some of these guys that haven't had a ton of playing time have fresh legs, and now they want to make the best of their opportunity when it comes to staying in gap discipline and then obviously trying to stop the run.
Let's hear from Josh Bynes. 11 tackles with a sack plus that fumble recovery for his touchdown.
Definitely felt like we should have been able to win the last two. But it's unfortunate we started off 1-4, but we'll take this win, any way you can. As long as you score one more point than the other team. We wish we could clean up some stuff and do a better job, but, we'll take a win any day.
The ball came loose. What were your thoughts?
I was just trying to scoop and score. Coach preach all the time, city or country, and clear was country. Wasn't nobody around, so I was just trying to scoop it up and score. And I appreciate Haas definitely getting the strip sack on that, and definitely was needed touchdown for us.
Some of the guys are celebrating more than you. Were you pretty gassed at that point?
I'm not going to lie. The first thing that came to my mind, because I guess a thing like that, was I got to go back out there. So I was trying to, celebrate middle, very small amount, because I knew I had to catch my breath because I had to go right back out there on defense. So, definitely, I wish I could have celebrated more. But, that's just how the game goes, and I knew we had to finish the game. So mentally, I just went back to I got to get back on the field for the next drive.
When you give a game ball to your head coach, his first win, how meaningful, how gratifying is that?
Oh, it's amazing. He's amazing. Coach Wilks definitely done his work. He's doing his. The coach has been putting in overtime, getting the scheme and stuff done. We just haven't executed, obviously, the right way these first four games. And now it's definitely today we did execute when we needed to. We made plays when we needed to, and we got to win today. And we know we got to continue to build off the turnovers, but definitely eliminate the mistakes we've made today, and play a better job on defense and get off the field on defense because we played way too many plays today. But like I said before, I take this win any day.
100 snaps. You're going to sleep tonight, aren't you?
Oh, I'm going straight to sleep. I'm going to see my wife and kids, and I'm chilling, and I'm just going to get my body back together because I know these few days, it'll come right back, and we got to get back after it and prepare for the next game.
Look, the defense won the ball game for the Cardinals on Sunday. There's no question about it. So now you have to look at why they were on the field for so long. It's because the offense wasn't able to do its job. They struggled once again running the football. David Johnson, only 55 yards. He did score twice. But as you mentioned, MJ, the 2 of 12 on third down conversions. Of course, the offense was a subject of Monday's press conference with Coach Wilks. Here was his diagnosis of what's ailing the offense right now.
When you look across the board, it's not just one guy. Everybody's taking their turn at, making that one mistake, which is really costing us for having a big play here or there. Whether it's a drop by a receiver, a lineman not executing their block, running back not, hitting the right hole, whatever it may be. But as a whole, there's enough to go around. We got to make sure that we correct that and get better and try to be consistent in what we're doing.
I know a lot of people focus on play calling, but what I keep hearing from the coaches, whether it's Wilks or Mike McCoy, it's execution. It's not all 11 players doing their job, and sometimes you can get away with that and still have a successful play when your talent for talent is just a little bit better than what you're facing, but those are rare exceptions, and right now the Cardinals don't have all 11 on offense consistently enough, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do.
It'd be different now. They have made a change at the most important position on the roster, which is quarterback, and they made the right decision because he's confident and Bradford wasn't confident. But, for the most part, besides Andre Smith missing some time and Wetzel filling in, and I don't think there's a huge drop-off, really had the same probably 11 to 15 guys that play, pretty much the majority of the game between the wide receivers, tight ends, and they bring in Wetzel. They've had a ton of reps in the offseason. Obviously, it's a lot different. Even for Josh Rosen, Wilks talked about today that he's going to get the same looks in practice, but they're not going 100 miles an hour. That's where it changes on game day. But they got to cut this down when it comes to mental errors. That's focus. That's lack of concentration. That's not doing your assignment. So they've taken turns on the line, at the wide receiver position, at the quarterback position of making mistakes. But we're in October. You have to minimize this. Now, the other team gets paid too, so there's going to be somewhere where they're going to get beat at the point of attack. That's physicality. That you just chalk that up to, hey, he won that play. But whether it's 45 plays, 60 plays, you have to cut down on that, and you got to grow from that. And that's when we're going to start to see this offense kick in, and we're going to find out their identity. But they have to be in rhythm first.
When you look at the numbers for Josh Rosen, really not all that impressive. 10 of 25 for 170 yards, and, of course, that 75-yard touchdown toss to Christian Kirk, according to Wilks. Rosen was missing basic, simple throws, called them a work in progress, and learning on the fly almost because, as you mentioned, MJ, the practice reps are not at full speed. Those full speed reps happen in the game. So this is almost baptism by fire, if you will, for Rosen. But let's hear from the rookie quarterback in his first career road start at San Francisco.
Maybe. I mean, we all got things to work on, and it's a long road ahead. But hopefully, this is the first win of many.
What made that first play work?
Christian running really, really fast, and our offensive line holding up real well. We told them we needed a shot in the first play, and wanted to kind of spark it and make something happen, and they held up, and we made a play. Just not getting too high, too low, just trying to always stay positive and consistent. Got a little frustrated at times on the sideline. Some stuff I know I can do better, but it is what it is, and it's a win, so we'll move on, watch the film tomorrow, and get the 24-hour rule and move on. San Francisco did a really awesome job of disguising their looks. They did a lot of different stuff out there. I think we adjusted pretty well, but there are obviously a lot of things we can do better. Very happy. That's 5 is a lot, and I'll take that any game. Especially when they end the game with them scoring. It's awesome. We've got Chandler stepped up and played an unbelievable game. Pat played an awesome game. Our superstars played like superstars. Yeah, every game is kind of its own thing, and it all has a different feel. We have the ability to pound the ball with our running back, who's one of the best in the country. We've got a really good passing game, so it kind of all depends on the feel of the game and how we're going. I think it shows a lot of the potential of our offense. We're not really clicking on all cylinders, but I think it shows what happens when we are. I think we can be unbelievably dangerous. I think we've got, especially the way our defense is built and how they're kind of we've got some unbelievable guys in the secondary, and we got some real good pass rushers. So if we can get up in a game and make a team have to throw the ball, I think teams would be in a lot of trouble. We just have to continue to get better and better.
Now, when you look at Rosen's numbers through 2 games, one number to me stands out, and I know you've been big on this, and that is the number 0, as in 0 turnovers. He hasn't lost the ball, hasn't put the ball in jeopardy. He's maintained possession of the most important equipment on the field, and that is the pigskin.
And we're talking about a rookie quarterback. I got to think defensive coordinators are going, we're going to throw the kitchen sink at this guy. And he did admit that they showed some different coverage that maybe they weren't aware of. Now, it's really the same coordinator that was at Seattle, okay? And so they run a very similar defense, different personnel, but they did have Richard Sherman out there yesterday. So there's going to be a learning curve. And the fact is he hasn't turned the ball over to me. That's huge. Just a couple times Mason Cole has put the ball on the turf, and he's been able to pick it up and throw it away. In other words, play for another down. And, he's had the ability to get out of the pocket a little bit. He's not taking the big hits. They've done a good job of protecting him. Like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, after 4 games, Carson Palmer was sacked like 17 times. We're getting like 1 or 2 per game.
He was hit 4 times on Sunday. Sacked once.
Sacked once. We'll take that all day. Now, it's going to be different this week. Even though they don't have Everson Griffin, they still Mike Zimmer will attack you. And so it'd be interesting to see another road game. Obviously it's a very loud building, not as loud as the Metrodome when they were pumping in crowd music. But it's another good test for him. And when he watches the film, he was just off. He was airmailing balls over the receiver, where the week before he was dropping dimes. So those couple passes to Ricky Seals-Jones. He did have a few drops. That doesn't help trying to pick up third down. So, again, a work in progress. But the fact is it's not too big for him. He commands the huddle, and he's not turned the ball over, because sometimes in this league you want to throw to a tight window, and the players are so good that they can jump that route, and you're not seeing pick sixes because those get magnified in any football game. So, again, he's going to learn watching the film today, and obviously between Byron Leftwich, Mike McCoy, and the offensive staff, he'll get a lot of help to where, hey, look for this when you go out there. You have the ability to check out of a play. But I am impressed the fact that He's confident enough to know he can make these throws. Now he's got to make them.
The other rookie that's impressing is wide receiver Christian Kirk. Obviously the touchdown on Sunday, but now through 5 games, 19 catches for 234 yards. The catch total tied with Atlanta's Calvin Ridley for the most among rookie receivers, and the yardage total is second only to Ridley, so not a bad start for Kirk so far. Let's hear from the Cardinals rookie wide receiver.
Yeah, at first he was kind of hanging back, and then, we kind of knew that he was going to cut Larry. So, once he kind of played and drove, I knew, we had a shot and just waiting for the ball to go up. And once I saw it go up, all I had to do was go finish.
Does this show a lot of what you can do at the NFL level, speed-wise?
For sure, and, that's one of the things that I said it over and over again. It was something that I could do. And, that's why every opportunity I get to show it, I'm going to show it. So I was glad to get my first one and to be able to show I can do that. I think the most important fact is, we got to win, and that was the most important thing. Good, bad, or ugly, we got to win. So now we can just build off of, where we're at now and just keep it rolling starting tomorrow.
What was the emotion like of making that big catch, scoring the touchdown? What did all that mean to you?
It means a lot. There's always something about your first one, and to be able to get it on the first play of a game on a deep pass and just in that moment and just help, kind of, boost our team and, going forward to get this win, during the game. It just felt amazing.
How special is the connection between you and Josh?
It's just constantly building, and you can just see it every week during practice, and just little things that we can communicate on. It's just building, and it's only going to go up from here.
Pro Football Focus puts out their grades, and I know it's not the Bible, but at least 20 teams subscribe to it, and they cross-check from their coaches' film and grades and scouts. And they sent an email to me this morning. Christian Kirk once again proved to be the Cardinals' top receiver threat. He caught 3 out of 4 targets for 85 yards, a touchdown, a passer rating 156. Now, coming out of college, he only played 21 snaps on the outside. He's been known to play in the slot. By putting him on the outside, he's caught 12 of 13 passes for 190 yards and 1 touchdown and a passing rating of 144. So don't pigeonhole this guy as just a slot guy. Now, the future probably will be there because you can target him 80 to 100 times. Larry's in the slot, and he obviously is, dealing with some injuries. So the fact that you can put him on the outside, and one thing he's a lot faster than people give him credit for. I love the way he gets off the line of scrimmage and yards after catch. This is going to be big in his career. Kind of reminds me of Golden Tate of the Detroit Lions.
And the ability to get separation as he did on that touchdown play. It was the play of the game, at least offensively. How did Dave Pasch and Ron Wolfley have it? Or how did they call it? Well, let's hear from those two on the Arizona Cardinals radio broadcast.
Rosen under center, barking out the call, takes. It's play action. Rosen setting up with time, looks deep, fires deep, got a man wide open inside the 30. It's caught by Kirk at the 20, at the 10. Touchdown! Josh Rosen with a strike, caught by Kirk, rookie to rookie, 75-yard touchdown.
Oh, baby, you want somebody going for the money? Play number 1 off of play action, and you run Christian Kirk on a post with a 7-man protection, and Josh Rosen put it on him in stride. Oh, that is big time right there, baby.
That is a connection that Cardinal fans hopefully will see for years to come.
The very first offensive play of the ball game for the Cardinals as we continue here on Cards Cover 2. Craig Grialou, Mike Jurecki, and joined right now by the Cardinals manager of media relations, Mike Helm, otherwise referred to as Stat Wiz here on a Victory Monday. After victories, Helm sits there, emails everybody 4 or 5 pages worth of notes. Only after wins, though, and we're putting you to work. We've been waiting 5 weeks for this moment right here on Cards Cover 2. 5 weeks.
I was looking forward to it.
Now, a lot of things we tweet out, and I usually tag them,
No, we take credit for everything.
No, not everything, but the stuff that maybe doesn't meet the naked eye, or you can say, okay, he had 8 targets this game. But I try to tag him. So this is the guy, and he's the one that supplies all the information for us. He's part of the game release, so we appreciate you joining us and bringing that wealth of knowledge, Wiz.
It's good to be here, guys. Hope I can throw a few good nuggets at you.
Okay, so where do you want to start? Obviously, we're going to get into Rosen. What he's accomplished is just a short amount of games. But let's talk about Christian Kirk, because you gave us a list earlier. You sent it out through email about where he ranks when it comes to wide receivers. And we know that DJ Moore went to the Panthers first. Calvin Ridley went to the Falcons. And Kirk dropped to the second round. The Cardinals were thrilled that he was there. How is he stacking up with some of these other rookie wide receivers in the NFL?
I mean, you have him tied for first among wide receivers with 19 receptions, 18 of those coming in the last, 4 games. You see him making some of those big plays over the last, I think yesterday the 75-yard touchdown reception was his third reception of 30-plus yards so far this season. So he's given you some of those big plays that you're looking for. Receiving yards, he ranks second to Ridley, 234, I think, receiving yards. His touchdown was tied with Ridley for the longest touchdown, by a rookie in the NFL this season. So I think he's given you everything that you could look for in a second-round pick.
You had to go specifically on that 75-yard touchdown play, though. You had to go back a little ways as far as to find how significant that was.
And that's fun. It's fun going back. You can go back 60 years to the last time, the Cardinals had a rookie-to-rookie connection like that. It was MC Reynolds to John David Crow back in 1958.
Whoa.
And the first play, the first offensive play of the game, which was big because, you had, you're 0-4, you're on the road. San Francisco comes down and scores on their first drive, and then boom, you come back with a 75-yard touchdown. That's a big play. And, I think the first time since 2008 that, we've scored on the first play of a game. So that's 10 years since that's happened. So, these guys are, especially the rookies, they're coming in and proving they can play right away.
And I'm glad you brought that up because we all know about Josh Rosen, Christian Kirk, Mason Cole, Chase Edmonds, but there are 2 others that you have highlighted specifically for their special teams work in Zeke Turner and Dennis Gardeck that I think don't get a lot of attention or enough credit. And we talk about the importance of special teams, especially with this coaching staff, and those 2 players have come up big.
Oh, yeah, and especially for rookies, sometimes these guys aren't, the 2 rookies we're talking about are both undrafted guys. So those guys are going to come in, and that's where you're going to make your mark on special teams. And, Zeke Turner is tied for the NFL lead with 7 special teams tackles.
Now, how does that compare to Budda Baker?
And Budda Baker, 7 through 5 games last year, and he was an all-pro. So you're not saying he's there yet,
sure.
But what more can you do through 5 games? He had 4 in week 2 against the Rams, so he's doing everything that he can to get on the field, and he's on every special teams unit, just like the other undrafted guy, Dennis Gardeck. I mean, he's leading the team, and I think with 98 special teams
He's like Rambo
snaps.
running down the field.
Oh yeah, and then he's on every special teams unit too. So that's how these guys are getting a lot of experience and making a lot of plays and providing some valuable playing time.
That's interesting because we only mentioned the draft class.
Yes.
And this team has shown the ability that when you show up, you got a first-round pick, second round, but they can care less, the coaching staff, of how you got here. Just make your mark. And we never really include those guys. And matter of fact, speaking of Pro Football Focus, they came out with their special teams player of the month, and it was an undrafted rookie in Turner.
Yeah, and that's like we mentioned, Budda Baker. Now all of a sudden you've got guys that are making their mark initially on special teams and then hopefully making a larger mark elsewhere, whether on offense or defense. As we are joined here on Cards Covered 2 by the Cardinals manager of media relations, Mike Helm, otherwise referred to as Stat Wiz. Here on Cards Covered 2 as we look at the defense and what they were able to do. By the way, you're going to put that on the back of your license plate. I'm going to get bumper stickers so we can get to hand those out to fans here.
Just to be fair, we came up with the name. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I don't want to get hounded in public. I don't want
it will stick.
Yeah.
That's the stats guy.
Yeah, there we go. We'll make you famous here on Cards Covered 2.
And he was nicknamed Wiz before Ken Wisenhunt became the head
I like
coach.
to be behind the scenes. I let you guys tweet out the stats.
I know, but we want to give you credit because you do the legwork.
MJ gives you credit. I'll steal all your information.
That's whenever I get notifications. It's always
and then they started arguing. Well, this is he posted regular season numbers. Yeah, we're in the regular season. We're not talking about the postseason.
That's right.
The defense and what they did on Sunday: 5 takeaways, 4 sacks, and again on the field for 92 defensive snaps, the most since 2013 by any NFL team. But the significance of that 5 and 4 number for the defense.
I mean, it's the first time in 10 years I think that they've had that many sacks and turnovers in a game. So that's, the big plays that you kind of saw in the preseason, flying all over the field, you're getting those. And for him to come at such a big time, and the 92 plays on defense is the most, just like the rookie-to-rookie touchdown pass, most in 60 years, 1958 against the Steelers. So, that's
that the Cardinals have
played. The Cardinals have played that many snaps in a game, and so for them to come up big in the fourth quarter with those turnovers, 2 fourth quarter turnovers that resulted in 14 points. 21 of the 28 points came off of turnovers in yesterday's game. So that's the kind of thing, especially if you're looking for your offense to get going, that's kind of the supplementary, offense that you kind of need.
He's mentioning stuff that happened 10 years ago and back in 51. I mean, that's how impressive it was. Consider they only had 48 snaps. They only had the ball 20 minutes. But the defense obviously won this game. All right, when we look at targets, let's focus on Rosen now. We know that obviously wasn't as accurate as he was in the previous game, but obviously he has the ability in the play action to extend plays with his legs. Now, when it comes to targets, we'll throw Chad Williams in here too because he's only a second-year player, but he was here throughout the entire rookie camp until the end of June. So let's put him in the equation. What about targets when we look at some of these young players on the roster?
Well, and I think that's kind of the fun thing. I was kind of looking into it a little bit, and I guess for a rookie quarterback, there's a lot getting thrown at him, and one of the things you're looking for is, are they scanning the whole field? Do they have eyes down the field? Are they going through their progressions? And you can see it with Josh is, he is reading the whole field. I mean, his targets are all over the place. He's targeted 9 different players. Fitz and Ricky Seals-Jones lead with 10. He's targeted Kirk 9 times, Chad Williams 9 times, David 7 times. So he's kind of spreading the ball all over the place, and that's kind of what you want. I mean, it's hard to defend, and the good thing is, I mean, you see some of these young guys, Ricky Seals-Jones, and you can kind of see that with Josh. I mean, some of the passes weren't there yesterday, but he likes him as a target.
And not getting locked on to one specific guy, which sometimes young quarterbacks will
Well, that tells me when you run your route, you better turn around because the ball could be coming your way. And it's not like he's going to hold on to it to get sacked. He's holding on to it to allow you to get open, and maybe it's an underneath route versus trying to hold the ball to throw the ball down the field. And that's how you move the chains.
Yeah, and I think it's, especially for the young guys, it's exciting to see Josh, how he'll grow, with the timing, the rhythm will come, but how he's going to grow with Ricky, who's a young guy, second-year guy, Chad Williams, second-year guy, I mean, Christian Kirk, a first-year guy. It's exciting to see how, all the timing and everything's going to come, together in the next 4 or 5 games and what they'll be able to do.
You want to do this again next Monday?
Absolutely.
So that means another win.
Victory Mondays.
Yeah, next week I want to get him on Chandler Jones because I don't know if people realize because we're in Arizona and he wasn't up for Defensive Player of the Year, leading the league in sacks, but
which was robbery.
Yeah, what he's done, not only here before he got here, in the last couple of years, I mean, Von Miller's below him. J.J. Watt, who's missed time, is below him. It's remarkable, and we really haven't gotten the tackle for losses, quarterback hits, pressures, hurries, knockdowns. So that next week, that's your assignment.
You got homework.
I'll look into the channel. I got a few things for you.
Manager Media Relations, Mike Helm, joining us here on Cards Cover 2. We began this talking about the quarterback to the wide receiver, the rookie-to-rookie 75-yard touchdown pass. We heard from Dave Pasch and Ron Wolfley. Now let's hear from Gabriel Trio on the Arizona Cardinals Spanish radio network.
Es primera y 10 para Cardenales, balón en la yarda 25 con Josh Rosen pegado a su centro. Larry Fitzgerald, receptor por la derecha, David Johnson su corredor, Rosen tiene el balón, prepara, apunta, dispara, tremendo balazo, completo a la altura de la yarda 16, a las manos de Christian Kirk, que después de atrapar, entra caminando en la zona. Touchdown! Arizona! Balazo de Josh Rosen a Christian Kirk y en una jugada el partido está empatado a 6 por bando.
Pasch gets excited, so does Wolfley, but no one can compare to Gabriel.
No, and I love his signature call, especially when it's Fitz, and now he's got a chance to call Rosen to Kirk, and we are on the same floor as Gabe, and so we hear when he's cutting stuff up, and so I walked down there today. I'm like, we need a couple highlights here, and he goes, which one you want? And so it was just great, but yeah, the passion he has, the energy he has, and I don't think people realize how many affiliates the Cardinals have when it comes to their Spanish broadcasts.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time and does a great job on the Cardinal Spanish Radio Network. All right, here on Cards Cover 2, you've been waiting for it. Time for the Bird Gang to sound off here on this Victory Monday. And let's go to Twitter. And this user wants to know, what do you think, MJ, are the biggest positives and the negatives from the game on Sunday?
Biggest positives was the defense forcing 5 turnovers that led to 21 points. I would say Rodney Gunter, Chandler Jones, maybe Ben Wickery had their best game as Cardinals. The disappointment was the drop balls, the lack of running game, and Josh Rosen not being as accurate he was a week ago. But I think those things are correctable. So I would say those are the pluses. And the main thing is we're having a conversation. This team won on Sunday.
Always easier to make corrections after victory
Very
than
true.
it is after a loss. Let's stay on Twitter, and this is an interesting question. Do you feel better this week after the win where the Cards looked pretty bad and had the game given to them, or after last week when they lost but had hope because Rosen played well?
Well, like we said last night on the postgame show, I think this team has improved over the last 3 weeks. I mean, they're giving up less than 20 points in 3 occasions. I'll take the win, but they weren't competitive in the first 2 weeks. They've been more competitive, and I don't think the Niners put this game on a platter. The Cardinals earned that victory.
That's why they call it takeaway.
That's right. And when you go in the victory formation, they can't do anything about it because they're out of timeout. So I'll disagree with that premise. The Cardinals earned the right to be the winners in that game yesterday.
Bird Gang sounding off now. We go to Instagram. Thoughts on the defense's performance?
Well, they got to get better. I mean, obviously, it starts with the run game. They got to get a couple guys healthy. I like what they're doing with Hassan Reddick. I think he's got a role in this team. We know he can rush the passer. He's pretty good in the flat. And, we had some of their 5-star players come up and make plays, and we haven't seen that every game. One game it's this guy, the next game it's that guy. I like where they are defensively. Again, in the last 3 weeks, they've shown a lot of improvement. They are ranked 11th overall when it comes to points allowed, 22.4. You want to get that number down somewhere in the teens, and they're on their way, hopefully.
Looking at the Cardinals' offense, we touched on the run defense. This user wants to know about the run offense and how to get that going. Not David Johnson specifically, but just the entirety of the run offense.
Well, you got to start winning the line of scrimmage. I know that people were upset about them running up the middle. I mean, when you get David Johnson within the 5-yard line, the goal line, you're not going to run to the edge. I do think they can have more screen passes. I thought Chase Edmonds didn't have a good game. He only played a little bit of time. But he's a guy that's pretty good in pass protection. He can catch the ball in the back. I'd like to see more like jet sweeps, quick screen passes, bubble screens. And if you get the receiver to block for you, you know how I feel about that. Those are extended run plays. So, again, you got to protect Bradford. You got to open some holes for David Johnson. But maybe move some guys around a little bit based on matchups.
Not specific to the run game, but this user wants to know about Mason Cole's performance, and perhaps the Cardinals have their center of the future.
No, there's no doubt about it. They're really excited about his future. Besides him putting the ball on the ground a few times, you don't hear his name called. He's making the calls. He's obviously getting help with Rosen. So, I mean, in the perfect scenario, he's in this Cardinals uniform for at least 10 years. He's got the physicality. He's got the size. He's got good hands. He's smart between the ears. There's a reason why he's played 104 games going into this season, consecutive starts, dating back to high school, and played for Michigan, so he played for Jim Harbaugh, a very physical coach, toughness, and they run the ball in the Big Ten, and you could see that.
Last question from Instagram. How do you think Josh Rosen will improve over time?
I think when he watches the film today, he's got to look at his footwork. And he was sailing the balls. Maybe it was a release point. Maybe he was worried about balls getting batted down to the line of scrimmage, which we haven't seen this year. We saw in the last couple of weeks the opposing quarterbacks doing that, and the Cardinals getting their arms up. So I think when he watches the film, he'll be able to make some corrections. And I would never question his accuracy over a period of time, the body of work, because we've seen it in practice, we've seen it in training camp, and now we're seeing it in the games. I think he's just got to make sure he's not making the perfect throw, make the good throw.
Appreciate the Bird Gang sounding off here on this Victory Monday. Real quick, got a tweet from Pompey_Magnus1. Did you know you have at least 3 diehard Cardinal fans in Northeast England?
Very well. They got a great following there. I think when they played in the London game and everything else, the Cardinals fan base, and I get a lot of questions from overseas. So we appreciate you listening. I don't know what time it is there now, but you can always download it. And if you're listening live, props to you.
The British Bird Gang alive and well, and we appreciate everyone here on Cards Covered 2. Special thanks to everyone behind the scenes here on this Monday afternoon. Special thanks to Tim Delaney, Jim Omohundro, Devin Henry, and Jeremy Schnell, plus Grant Greeley, Jonathan Hayward, Brandon Nadas, Jesse Aranda, and Jackson Sipes. We'll do it again on Wednesday as the Cardinals now look to build on Sunday's victory in San Francisco, try to make it back-to-back wins as they face the Minnesota Vikings. We'll talk to you on Wednesday here on Cards Covered 2.